All right, cool. All right, ready?
I can't wait. I can't wait. Horn dissertation.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the love of my life, J.C. Horn.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside Nick Merriam and Donny Clemons. So we mentioned last week with Theo that the Sauce Gardner scouting report was probably our last scouting report of the season. We'll see how crunched we are heading towards the draft. Maybe we'll do another one. Who knows? But that's because this week we are starting a couple videos that I think are pretty cool in-depth videos. So if you guys remember, if you're hardcore boomers and busters, Donnie's first video with Boomer Bust, we brought him on in August because we loved him from TikTok and everything else. And we said, hey, we're going to rank guys from 2018 to 2022 just to give people like a general sense of where we think this class stacks up in those past 5 years. Well, we're going to redo that because obviously back in August, a lot has changed for this 2022 draft. Spencer Rattler no longer is QB1 in this draft. He's in fact going
Well, he was never my QB1. So.
Oh, fair. Donnie did have Malik Willis, which is actually a pretty fair call out. So we're going to do that again, and we're going to do a little bit different positions now. We're going to still do some of the same positions you saw in the last video, but this should be a lot of fun. As always, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Boom or Bust Draft. Follow us personally, too, at Chad_Maxwick, at Nickel Sports, at Pick and Spreads. Follow our TikTok has been doing really, really well.
Our TikTok has been popping. We've gained like 300 followers in the last 2 days. So I mean, go ahead and follow it. Like, we post good content on that.
Yes, go follow it, please. Of course, follow Donnie on TikTok too, at Pick and Spreads.
Get me to 20K.
Subscribe. Get him to 20K. Get us to 2K. But like and subscribe below. So how we did this, the last video was very long because the four of us just said, here is my top 10. Okay, cool. Here's my top 10. And you heard Trevor Lawrence's QB1 4 different times. So you don't need to hear that again. We don't want to waste your time doing that. So how we did this, we each made our rankings. It's usually going to be a top 5 unless there's no 2022 guys. Because the whole point of this video is to show where we think this 2022 class stacks up. So if there's no 2022 guys, we're just going to keep going until we get a 2022 guy. So I say that because the first one we're going to talk about is quarterback. And we each made a board, and then we made it a consensus board. So I'm going to read it off. The top 10 quarterbacks from 2018 to 2022. 1, Trevor Lawrence. 2, Joe Burrow. 3, Kyler Murray. 4, Justin Fields. 5, Zach Wilson. 6, Tua Tagovailoa. 7, Baker Mayfield. 8, Trey Lance. 9, Sam Darnold. And 10, we had a little bit of a tie here between Matt Corral and Sam Howell, the only two 2022 guys in this top 10. Sam Howell is QB1 on our big board, but that is only because I have Sam Howell at 6th overall. And Nick and Donnie both have Matt Corral as QB1. So that's the only reason why we put a tie there, because technically the majority has Matt Corral QB1, but the big board has Sam Howell a little bit higher because of me. But yeah, so this pretty much is an indicator of how this quarterback class is.
It sucks.
It's not as good. It's not as good. And any of these quarterbacks in the last 5 years would have been QB3, QB2 in the case of 2019, which also wasn't a great class outside of Kyler. So, yeah.
When Trey Lance is the QB1 of this draft out of North Dakota State, and he's a 20-year-old project quarterback, that tells you something about how bad this quarterback is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I put out on TikTok that a lot of people flamed saying Sam Howell over Trey Lance, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so it should give you a good idea. Like, hey, it's not an awful quarterback class. There are 5 or 6 guys that are worth taking on day 1 or day 2, but there is no high end. There is no Lawrence, Burrow, Kyler that you see every year. We've had one pretty much every single year from 2018 and now. I would even put Baker Mayfield, I thought was really, really good too. So every year from 2018, 19, 20, 21, there was always at least one like stud at quarterback. There isn't a stud quarterback this year. It's a little bit more muddled a little bit. But let's go over to the next position. Nick, start us off with the wide receivers.
Yeah, actually, I hate to do this because we just transitioned, but I'm throwing back to quarterbacks really quick because I have a lob question for Max, just because I've seen a lot of this discussion about how this squares up to quarterbacks from last year. Hey, Max, where's Mac Jones?
Mac Jones is not on here. Dude, people didn't understand the tweet that I tweeted when I was like, rank these guys from last year and this year. They're like, oh, you didn't put Davis Mills on here? I'm like, no, it's prospects, dude. Like, oh, it's nice. It's a nice caveat to say afterwards. I'm like, dude, we're called Boomer Bust the Draft Show.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
I'm
a
talking about
draft podcast.
Yeah,
Figure
that's
it
what we
out.
do. Like,
I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? Like, but yeah, Mac Jones, I would take Corral and Howe over Mac Jones just because the ceiling I think is a little bit higher. So that's why
yeah,
Mac Jones is not
Yeah.
back.
I think all of us kind of agree on that. I've seen a lot of Jones over everyone in this class, which like I don't hate.
I don't
I
hate
can
it,
see
but
it.
I just don't agree.
I
I never
understand.
really
Yeah.
got fully into the Mac Jones train. Yeah, he's a good QB, you know.
He's-
I mean,
he's
but
good.
also,
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Stinks,
he's in a
man.
good situation too, you know. So
Yeah.
we'll see if that happens at all with some of these quarterbacks. All right, sorry about that. We're going to wide receivers now. Our consensus for wide receivers, once I find it, number 1, Jamar Chase. Number 2, Jerry Jeudy. In that stacked receiving core, right behind him was number 3 player, CeeDee Lamb. Then Devontae Smith from last year. That's two wide receiver classes right there. And then 5th is Garrett Wilson from this year, our consensus wide receiver 1. Is only ahead of Jalen Waddle because I had Waddle 17th on my board last year, notably behind the players like Rashad Bateman and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, which, I mean, you know, I can make an argument, but probably not. But Waddle very good this year. The injury scared me a little bit, and some route running issues I had too. But you know, Waddle obviously very good, and I think if you were to ask these guys, they'd have him ahead of Wilson as well. So a little bit skewed there, but outside of that, I think this wide receiver class, although there's not like a clear like Chase, not a clear Judy, you know, number 1 guy that people want to take number 1 overall in this class. If there was as one of those guys, they probably would be in the number 1 pick discussion.
Yeah.
There is still pretty good depth. I think if you were to go on, we were to rank the top 15 receivers. A good number of the 6 to 15 range would be from this draft class.
Yeah.
I agree.
What was interesting to me for this receiver one is that it's just 2020 and 2021 and then Garrett Wilson. Like 2018 and 2019 just did not have the receiving talent. So it's kind of weird how it's like we had 2 awesome ones in 2020 and 2021, and the 2 before that were not very good at all.
It's also interesting how the 2019 receiver class might be like one of the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Hunter Renfrow. Like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah. But as prospects, that's why we said as prospects. We want to say they're not as better now, it's just purely as prospects, which is why you saw Sam Darnold in our quarterbacks rankings. Actually, no, I think he just missed out the Sam. Yeah, number 9 in the quarterbacks rankings. So we'll see. All right, Donnie, let's go to offensive tackles now. What do you got?
So offensive tackles on the consensus. Number 1 is Penei Sewell. Number 2 is Tristan Wirfs. Number 3 is Jedrick Wills. Number 4 is Jonah Williams. Number 5, Andrew Thomas. And number 6, couldn't quite make it in the top 5. Number 6 is Evan Neal. And I just want to say, whoever thinks Andrew Thomas is better than Evan Neal out of the 3 of us, I have some questions for them.
We may.
Max, I have some questions for you.
I liked Andrew Thomas a lot coming out.
He was the first tackle off the board, so I mean,
he was 4th overall pick.
Oh God!
Hey man, I mean, people were in on it. I think it's interesting here, just that we have Neal not even in the top 5. I think some people are going to be a little upset about that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, like, it's also interesting to me that Akeem Ekwonu, I mean, I guess I'm higher on him than you guys are, so I understand that. I think Max has him as OT2, and Nick, I think you have him as OT3, but I guess I'm just super high on him. But, yeah, I mean, if you combine all of our big boards, our number 1 offensive tackle in the draft is Evan Neal, highest ceiling, all that stuff, but I still sit here and wonder why Andrew Thomas is ranked ahead.
Well, Nick also has Charles Cross, too. That's why Evan Neal might got it bumped down, too.
I'm not gonna lie, and people might call me crazy. Charles Cross is better than Andrew Thomas by, I think, a comfortable margin as a prospect.
Oh.
Dude, I did not like Andrew Thomas, man. I didn't like him, dude.
I just loved Andrew Thomas, apparently.
I'm sorry. Like, his senior year, he was kind of whatever, and then the combine, he was by far the worst tackle of the 3. Like, by far, and it wasn't really close.
I thought he had a great senior year. I don't know about whatever. I thought he was amazing at Georgia, but I guess I'm alone there.
I don't know. Whenever I look at prospects, I always look at, like, highest ceiling. And out of the 3 tackles, he had the lowest ceiling. At least, even though he's definitely not the worst. He's probably, out of those 4 offensive linemen, he might be the second best. So, I mean, good for you for calling that out, I guess, because he's
Yeah.
the only one he's probably worse than is Tristan Wirfs, and then he's
Wirfs is a stud.
he's better than
I
he's better than Wills, because Wills isn't really that good, which is kind of shocking because he's surrounded by an amazing offensive line.
Yeah.
And then you see Mekhi Becton, he just can't stay healthy. And then Josh Jones, who I called the steal of the draft.
I love Josh Jones too, man. That was tough.
Yeah, he sucks.
How's Austin Jackson working though? That one's going. It's going.
We
good
put
for
him at
Dolphins.
guard. We put him at guard, and he still sucks.
All right, Nick. Let's go to defensive side of the ball. What do you got for edges?
All right, edge players. Our number one player is Chase Young. We all had
Woo!
number one. I hope so. Number two
I don't
is
think it's close.
Seeing Chase Young ahead of Nick Bosa, by the way, is very strange to me.
Well,
As
you know,
prospects,
and
I don't
look,
think it was close.
No. Yeah, I agree. I agree as a prospect, but just looking at it now, 2 years after, it's just
it
interesting.
could still be a thing. I just don't bet on it because of certain teams' history. Nick Bosa's number two. He had a great year again this year. Then number three is Aiden Hutchinson checking in. It's actually kind of wild. There's a bit of a drop off here behind Young and Bosa this past 5 years with edge players. You'd think there'd be more. Seems like there's a good edge player every year, but I guess part of that is like Myles Garrett was 2017 the year before. So that's kind of a cutoff. So Hutchinson ends up being our number three, having one of the stronger senior years we've seen. And then four, Kayvon is right behind him. We do, I think, have a gap between the two, but it just happens that there's kind of a drop off here. Kayvon ends up being next. And five, a guy that we all were pretty high on, I think. None like maybe top three on, but Josh Allen is our number five edge player out of Kentucky.
The Jacksonville Josh.
Jacksonville might get two of these guys.
Yeah, true. That's true. That's very true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that'd be a lot of
crazy
fun.
would that be? Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Allen. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I don't know how you guys like. Chase Young was like him and Myles Garrett. I would say were like the two that I was like they can't miss. And then like I like the Bosa brothers a lot. Joey Bosa probably would have been this too if it was 2017. But yeah, Chase Young and Myles Garrett were like the two for me that I was like, yeah, they're freaking.
Where would you think Joey Bosa is in this? Because I think he's lower than Hutchinson.
Really?
I think Hutchinson's a better prospect.
I don't know. I don't think I would.
Three at least.
I think I'm. Yeah. Well, if you're including 2017, it would be.
It'd be Garrett. No, it'd be well for me. It'd be Garrett Young, but it would be for most people Young, Garrett, Nick Bosa, and then I'd put Hutchinson.
Okay, I would put Joey because I think he was a junior coming out, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hutchinson was and also like Joey was sick all 3 years, so it was like.
But I think Hutchinson's a better athlete, and I honestly think he might have a higher ceiling than Joey.
That's fair. Nick, where'd you put?
For three with Joey?
Yeah,
I'd have Joey three. I mean, I thought him and Nick were very similar prospects than like size. Nick had a more complete career at Ohio State, whereas Joey, I think his last year was like unreal.
Yeah.
But then Chase Young had an even more unreal last year. I think people forget how crazy Chase Young's tape was his final year. Yeah.
I mean, the only guy who could stop him.
He had
was
games
Rashawn
like 5
Slater.
sacks and stripping quarterbacks like half the time at a sack. But I still would have Myles Garrett over him. Honestly, I was a big fan of Myles Garrett coming out.
I would. Too.
Yeah, I like Myles Garrett a lot. All right, let's go to linebacker. We wanted to do a linebacker now because it's not like there's not like a generational, although Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd are very good. But we thought it was like a very interesting position to talk about. And because we didn't mention at the top, we're not doing interior offensive line and we're not doing safety because safety would just be Kyle Hamilton, number one. Everyone knows that. Everyone and their mother knows that he's the best in like 15 plus years. Tyler Linderbaum probably would have been number two behind Quentin Nelson in interior offensive line, but it's such a big gap between those two and everyone else.
Real quick, I just want to say this real quick. What guard would you put below him? Would you put Elijah Vera Tucker?
Maybe.
Or would you? I'm
on the spot. I'm trying to think of like.
Oh man,
guards.
Chris Lindstrom.
Yeah, Chris Lindstrom.
He was really good this year.
He was. He actually
was.
His brother's in this draft too. Alec Lindstrom.
Garrett Bradbury, NC State legend.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, probably Elijah Vera Tucker.
Brian Kelly's not too close enough. Yeah, I don't know.
Kelly was.
Was Frank Ragnow in the 2018-2022? But I like Ragnow.
He was 2018. I remember. Yeah. He was 2018. Dude, you know who's the pick right before him? Billy Price.
Oh heck no, dude.
There's a pick right after him, actually.
There we go.
Yeah, but.
Yeah. All right, so they didn't mess it up. All right, so let's go to line. I just want to mention that because those are probably the only two generational prospects I would put. Generational for Linderbaum at center. He's a generational center prospect, and Hamilton's generational safety prospect. So that's the only reason we're not doing this is because it's not much of a conversation. You know, like
everybody knows that Hamilton is the best safety prospect since Sean Taylor. Like at least the people that I talk to, like I'm not saying this to flex or anything, but like I obviously connect with the most amount of people because I have the biggest account, and whenever I see comments, okay, come on, okay, but yeah. 19K. Let's go.
Donnie just hanging out with us peasants.
Feel good. I appreciate you coming on, Donnie.
Yeah, for sure. Totally didn't want to join a lot before that, but anyway. Actually, no. What happened was I forced them to let me join because I'm so much bigger than them.
Yeah, you forced our hand. Okay.
We actually bought the show.
We did. Yeah. We're Donnie's employees, actually, is what's going on right now. All right, let's get to linebackers. Went off the rails so quick. The linebackers, consensus linebackers from 2018 and 2022. Number 1, Micah Parsons. Number 2, Isaiah Simmons. Number 3, a guy who all of us are probably going to groan at, Devin White. Number 4, Roquan Smith. Number 5, Nakobe Dean from this draft. And number 6 from this draft, Devin Lloyd, who I know. Yeah, exactly. We had to put Devin Lloyd in there because he was right there. So, yeah, it's interesting. Micah Parsons, I loved his tape coming out. I think the only questions were off the field and coverage. Isaiah Simmons is kind of the other way, where it's kind of like he's amazing in coverage. And then, Devin White was a top 5 pick. Roquan Smith, we all love. Roquan Smith was freaking awesome.
Dude, I love Roquan. He was so sick.
He was like souped up Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yes, was souped up Nakobe Dean.
He's probably, I think he's a top 3 linebacker in the league. Like,
wow.
I love him.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
He's so
definitely
sick.
Up there. I like him. And then Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd. Nakobe Dean, if he was bigger, probably would have been a lot higher on this list. But it's just the size concerns. And Devin Lloyd is just an all-around stud at linebacker. But I think Nakobe Dean does some things better than Devin Lloyd. I know Nick has Devin Lloyd LB1, but Donnie and I both have Nakobe Dean LB1. So
is it crazy?
Go ahead.
Is it crazy to say that Micah Parsons is already the best linebacker in the NFL?
No,
I think he is.
It's not.
I think he is.
He's the only person at the linebacker position who's great at everything.
Yep.
Or maybe good. Actually.
Well, and
the coverage is still an issue.
Excelling.
I think that I don't know.
There's another level to it.
Yeah, I don't. Tyler, I don't know if you're watching this, but you guys don't know him. He's in a group chat I'm with, but I don't know if you're watching this, but he thinks that Micah Parsons is like the 3rd best player in football. And honestly, I don't love it because I think Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Donald, and then Trent Williams are all like a lot.
Yeah, no, it's tough because he's as a rookie. Like, as a future, like I would put him above a lot of people. But like,
oh yes, absolutely. I mean, he had the best rookie season. Maybe.
Currently, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, no, but he was fantastic, and he was an awesome player at Penn State too, which we all saw. All right,
Isaiah Simmons was like that.
Yeah. All right, let's finish this off. Let's finish this off with an interesting one. Corner, Donnie, read off our cornerback list.
So number 1, we have Derek Stingley Jr. This year's guy, you may have heard of him. I know he hasn't played football in a while, but that's okay. Jeff Okudah, we had at number 2. Once again, maybe don't remember him, but
PJ does.
He's PJ.
PJ remembers him.
Jeff Okudah
I was very high on Okudah.
Jeff Okudah is alive. Yeah. That's all I can say. Jeff Okudah is alive. Patrick Surtain at 3. Denzel Ward at 4. Once again, another guy who may be dead right now, but hopefully he isn't. And then Sauce Gardner is number 5, everybody's favorite. If you have a nickname named Sauce, like he's
in the top 5 automatically.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say this. I just want to say this real quick. These 2 that I am currently filming with are absolute bozos for not having JC Hornets at the top 5.
I had Surtain number 1 on my list over Stingley. I don't know. That's probably a crazy take. Nick remembers from I was in love.
Dude, people think Sauce is better than Stingley. Like, people are going to get mad at us because people probably think Sauce is better than Surtain or Okudah. Like, yeah, listen, yes, Okudah has not been good in the NFL, but you also can't fully blame him. But like as a pro, yes, he was unreal in college.
His combine, remember his combine? It was unreal too.
Yeah, his combine was sick.
It's just, I hope he gets healthy and hopefully he can do stuff. But Yeah,
these guys are bozos for not having JC.
Nick and I were lower on him, and PJ was still on.
Seth Williams is a close and
personal. By the way, and also I went back and I watched some of their old content not that long ago because I wanted to get some of the older thoughts on JC Horn. Neither of these guys had him inside of the top 18 on their big board, on their final big board, which I just want to say is absolute blasphemy. Like that's like war criminal. Like
I wasn't a huge fan. Like I liked him a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like I think I raised him in the last final one.
Like
but
listen, I get it. He doesn't know what zone coverage is. I understand that. He doesn't know that it exists. But he's so athletic. Like he's a better athlete than Surtain.
Surtain was an amazing athlete too, though.
Don't you compare their athleticism.
Surtain was an amazing athlete.
Don't you compare their athleticism.
Well, don't you combine 40 times.
Don't compare the tape then. If I can make that argument.
How about we look at Seth Williams' game?
That's just one game, Donnie.
And it was that one game was better than any game Surtain had.
Well, Patrick Surtain was amazing as a true freshman.
I agree. He was amazing. He was amazing as a true freshman. I understand that. But when you're on Alabama and you don't have to face off against Alabama wide receivers in games, that's gonna help.
JC Horn. Did JC
Horn looked okay against Devontae Smith.
I don't think he played him. Did he?
Yeah, he did. He played Devontae
Smith.
Okay,
because they're in a different division. Okay.
Yes, he played okay against Devontae Smith. He was the best man press corner we have seen in years, and he's a better athlete than Surtain. Like, I understand. If you want to have Surtain over him, that's fine. But the fact that they think Denzel Ward and Sauce Gardner, blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy.
I like Sauce, dude. Sauce I'm a big fan of. Denzel Ward I was a huge fan of, too.
I love those guys.
I have more questions on Jason Ward's tape that people would realize. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see too. I mean, we haven't really seen much of him in the NFL, so we'll see what he does. But
all I'm gonna say real quick before we end this, the first 3 games of the season, JC Horn was better than Patrick Surtain.
What about the whole? Patrick Surtain was awesome this year, though.
I get that. He was awesome. He was spectacular. If JC Horn never got hurt, he was on pace to have a better season than Patrick Surtain.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And
by the way, much worse situation around him. Because Surtain was like CB3 when he first got there, and JC Horn was CB1 when he got there.
Look, we all get another year to figure things out. JC Horn bounce back year, Jamin Davis bounce back year. We'll be all right.
Najee Harris will be valuable, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully Zaven Collins stops acting like a gentle giant.
So that's what we got. Obviously, we have a lot of disagreement on this show. So we know you guys probably do too for a lot of this. So make sure you guys comment below what your rankings would be, where we messed up, where you liked our rankings. We don't get enough love in the comment section. A lot of hate lately. Please show us a little bit of love.
Stop being mean to us.
Please stop.
You can't ask them. It's never gonna stop. Like, I don't know why.
Don't make fun of us.
It'll never stop. No, I actually love when they make fun.
Please make fun of us. We love
it.
Make fun
of us. We
give us motivation.
We screenshot comments all the time and send in the group chat just like hilarious comments that I think are great. But we love you. We all love all of you. Please comment below, like, subscribe, follow all of us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boomer Bust Draft, and that's what we got, man. So for Nick Merriam and Donny Clemons, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.